Welcome to Audit Archive, where we run you through some of the most questionable and rather atrocious police encounters. Today, we're looking at two cases where officers used excessive force, one leading to the death of a mentally ill man by asphyxiation after being tased and beaten, and another violating peaceful protesters' constitutional rights through unreasonable seizure. The local police department received a domestic disturbance call from a woman at her friend's residence. What had happened was that David Baker, the resident owner's husband, refused to leave his wife's apartment after she told him to do so. Due to mental health issues from being a Navy veteran and despite going for multiple treatments, the man was capable of being easily agitated. This led to Mr. Baker's brother, Johnny Gillen, trying to calm his brother down. Unfortunately, this led to a fight between the two, which is exactly when officers arrived on the scene. Rather than deal with the situation properly, however, they only made matters much worse.
Stop! That's my brother!
Let him go!
Stop! Hold him! Right now!
While some may argue that the use of a taser was justified here, the way the officer deployed it was not. According to ACLU taser policy, officers will, if feasible, give the subject a verbal warning before using the taser. The warning should be an explicit statement such as, "Stop, get on the ground, or you will be tased." Officers will also announce to cover officers that the taser is being deployed whenever possible. However, considering that the officer did not do so, they violated this policy.
No, don't do that. It's not working. No! 210, we need some more help. 210, we need some more help.
Get on
the ground! Now! 210, did you copy? We need more help. We need more help.
There you go.
After fighting with the man for about a minute, one of the officers was able to catch him in a stranglehold. Now, at this point in time, the most logical course of action would be for all three officers to use minimum bodily force to detain him, which would be in accordance with the use of force policy, which states, "Officers shall use only that amount of force that is objectively reasonable under the totality of the circumstances known to the officer at the time the force is used. Force may appear necessary at the time the force is used, given the facts and circumstances perceived by the officer at the time of the event to accomplish a legitimate law enforcement purpose." Unfortunately, the officers would resort to much more drastic measures.
Okay, Solar, can you get up?
You can call for help out of 1055 you two right now. Billing you, on
Get on the ground now!
I'm telling you.
Do it! Stop resisting! Stop resisting!
Instead of tackling the victim to the ground, the officers used 2 tasers and a police baton to subdue the subject. Still, everything up to the point of Mr. Baker letting go of the officer from his hold may be considered justifiable. However, what they did after was far from legal.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
You got it.
211
Get on!
According to Stanford Law School's policy on batons and other impact weapons, this policy limits the use of batons to strike or jab a subject to when the subject exhibits active or aggravated aggression. The officer can articulate the facts and circumstances that justify each and every strike on the person, and once the person no longer poses a threat, the officer stops striking the person. However, even when Mr. Baker stopped hitting anyone and was cowering in fear, one of the officers struck his legs regardless.
Get on the ground!
Stop! You got it.
David, please! Do it for your son! Stop! Get on the ground! Right now!
Still waiting for a second.
Get on the ground!
You want to keep going.
Please, David! Please! Do it for your son, please!
You don't want to keep going.
Please! Do it for your son!
Well, you got another jurisdiction that's close. I'm still a ways off.
Please do it for your son!
Get on the ground.
Please!
You need to stop.
David, stop!
There's a lot more people coming.
Please!
Right now.
Stop! David! David! Stop!
Right now. I swear to God.
Despite already having the man on the ground with multiple officers on top of him, the law enforcers present tased him even more, with two of them repeatedly punching Mr. Baker in the head and back. It's important to note that taser manufacturers generally recommend that reasonable efforts should be made to target lower center of mass and to avoid intentionally targeting the head, neck, chest, and groin when deploying a taser. But this was something the officer did not take note of, as she repeatedly tased the victim's chest with absolutely no remorse.
Get on the ground!
You let go first.
Get on the ground! You better stop fighting. Stop fighting right now.
Hey! On the ground.
You see this?
Yeah! Yeah!
Get on the ground!
Back up.
Go away.
Back up. Hey, come here. Help me. Help me.
Get on the
Help
ground!
me!
Get on the
Help
ground!
me! Help me!
Stop it!
Help!
Get
Help!
Get back up.
Help!
Stop it!
Help! 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 Help!
Baby, stop! Stop!
Help!
Stop!
Help! Help!
Stop!
Help!
Stop!
Get on the ground!
I hurt you because you're being resistant. Stop! That's it. Don't fight them. They have power. Stop! Stop! That's it. That's it. That's how we get you. We don't fight. Don't fight. You're helping us. Stop! Stop! Just get handcuffed, go to jail. You're making it worse.
Here we go, here we go.
You don't have any license.
Here we go.
Outside.
Good, excuse for him. Yeah, that's fair. Couldn't have got the video of that here. I'm sorry.
Are you gonna miss him? You're good. Yeah.
After finally detaining the subject with his stomach facing the ground, other officers arrived on the scene to assist in Mr. Baker's arrest.
Come on in, baby.
Where's his hand?
Somewhere up that way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
He's not affected.
No.
What do you got, an arm? Where's another arm? His arm is under it. Yeah.
I got his other leg.
Arm's under him. Arm's under him.
Give it that arm.
I got this other leg.
Left arm is buried under it. Weapon? No.
No weapon.
No weapon.
Left.
He's a big motherfucker and he's on something. Got it?
He can't get up. We gotta get it with him on. Don't get up. All right.
I got his arm over here.
Okay.
He ain't going anywhere.
Hold on, I get a hand on it. I'm gonna get this under. You're over. You're over. Got an arm.
What the officers didn't seem to be aware of, however, was that Mr. Baker was no longer responding after 7 of them pressed their weight against his chest and neck. Due to this and the injuries sustained beforehand, Mr. Baker fell unconscious and was unresponsive.
Yeah, don't put. I have gloves too, Roosevelt, so when you need to switch.
Unfortunately, due to none of the officers calling emergency services in time, Mr. Baker died. According to the autopsy report, he died of restraint asphyxia. In other words, the position he was placed in prevented him from breathing adequately. This meant that the officers were responsible for unnecessarily applying pressure even after the victim was on the floor, resulting in his death. However, Senior Chief Deputy District Attorney Rich Orman, after reviewing the incident, authored a 2-paragraph letter that said his office found no criminal wrongdoing on the part of any participating police officer. As of the date of this recording, no further updates have been made to this case. On April 25, 2024, in Atlanta, Georgia, students of Emory University calling for a ceasefire in the Gaza conflict set up an encampment on the school's Decatur campus, similar to protests at other major universities across the country. Surprisingly, with no viable evidence, Emory officials said the protesters who had set up an encampment were trespassing on private property and refused to leave, leading the school to ask the Atlanta Police Department and Georgia State Patrol for assistance. Although trespassing laws might apply to non-students, the school was not permitted to expel enrolled students on the grounds of trespassing. Furthermore, according to the school's own undergraduate code of conduct, it is a violation of this conduct to interfere with the rights of others to free expression. Despite this, the school called officers anyway, who arrived on the scene to kick out the non-violent activists.
Hey, you might want to change that L. I think GSP got lost in the L. Hey. Roach, GSP got lost in the L. GSP's pushing that way. GSP's directly across from us. GSP's already pushing. Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get down! You're a rabid dog! Leave! You're a rabid dog! Yes, please leave! Disperse!
Unfortunately, during the peaceful protests, officers took drastic measures to subdue the participants.
The car is coming.
Iowa, you're all the same! APC! KKK! Iowa, you're all the same! APC! KKK! Iowa! KKK!
Ma'am, get on the ground. Get on the ground. ma'am.
As the woman was using a loudspeaker to express her words, she was protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which states, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances." However, despite that right, multiple officers used an unnecessarily excessive amount of force to subdue the woman and throw her against the car and onto the ground, violating her fourth constitutional right, which states, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized."
Please
I don't like your officers.
grab her. Ma'am, on the ground. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
Flex up.
Give me your other hand, please. Ma'am. I'm gonna move your sleeve out of the way.
Just hold her down.
Hey, I got it. Hey, you got it? Okay.
Done with one victim and on to the next, another officer's body cam footage showed a civilian being violently abused.
Whenever you're ready, just tap me. I will.
Not only did the officer refuse to give out a verbal warning, but he also tased the victim 3 different times, despite already being detained. This meant that the officer violated his department's taser policy, which states, "The taser is a use of force and is to be used only when necessary to overcome resistance while effecting an arrest, preventing an escape, in self-defense, or in defense of another person from physical harm, and in accordance with this department's use of force policy." After the incident, the school claimed that the group consisted of activists who were not connected with Emory, while also stating that they were attempting to disrupt our university as our students finish classes and prepare for finals. Days later, however, Emory president Gregory Finvez backtracked from that claim, saying it was not fully accurate. As of the date of this recording, though, no further updates have been made to this case. Be sure to check out our previous video, where we cover another outrageous police encounter.